Hey, you're listening to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hey.
We've got a big weekend coming up. We've got the NXT TakeOver show WarGames, as well as Survivor Series featuring Raw vs. SmackDown vs. NXT. So quite a big night, or a big weekend for the Yellow brand, being featured across two massive shows. So we're going to run down their pay-per-view first, that is WarGames. And as of moment, at time of recording, we're running down what is the card announced. We have Matt Riddle, who has been removed out of the WarGames match so that he can go one-on-one with Finn Balor.
Well, at least it's not one-on-one with The Undertaker.
This isn't SmackDown. It's close, but it's not SmackDown. I imagine Finn Balor at the moment, he's pulling off his sort of biker, cool guy type thing. I don't see this being a demon match, even though people may want to be hyped to see it. I think it'll just be a Matt Riddle straight up Finn Balor match, probably. Nice, clean one-on-one between the two. Be interesting because obviously they're in the same town as Raw and SmackDown. We've seen the OC potentially cross on over to NXT a couple weeks ago already. So will they interfere themselves into this match is something we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's possible, but I don't think it will happen. I think this will end up being a clean win for whoever wins it, and I'm going to put my money more on the veteran in WWE, in Finn Balor.
Yeah, it would be interesting to make the decision to move Finn Balor to NXT and then have him come out quite hot. Like, he's come out swinging in there, then just lose when they go to pay-per-view. So I think if it is clean, then Finn Balor picks up the win here, definitely.
Especially when you consider that this was originally supposed to have been him versus the heart and soul of NXT, Johnny Gargano. But that didn't happen because of injury.
Yeah, which opened up the space which Matt Riddle slides into, so logic would say that the replacement in the match isn't usually going to be the winner on the night, but weirder things have happened. We also have a triple threat match, so at Survivor Series, Adam Cole will be defending his NXT Championship alongside the other two big titles. But who will he face? That will be decided the night before at WarGames, where it will be Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane versus Damian Priest.
This should be an interesting match, because there's a lot that they could do with this, but I think it's almost by default Pete Dunne.
Okay, that's a decision.
Well, he is the only face in the match.
Yeah, I guess that is, if you want to go, heel face, then yes. I think Damian Priest is a little preoccupied. I know he's feuding with Dunne a little bit at the moment, but then Dunne's been with Kane, so it's been Killian, sorry. It has been pretty crossovery between the three of them. So I don't know. Personal preference, I would prefer Killian Dane to win. Don't think it'll happen, but that is my personal preference between the three of them here of who will take on Adam Cole at Survivor Series.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I really do think that it'll be Pete Dunne. And I think Dunne versus Cole could be match of the night.
And there's
Easily.
a lot of good matches on that card.
Yeah. And I could possibly see the longest reigning NXT UK champion. Not that there's been many of them. Longest reigning champion in WWE, period, in the last 30 years.
Yep.
Picking up the other NXT main championship.
Those are some bold calls. One of them not so bold, but the Pete Dunne picking up the title, pretty bold. But I guess that all does come down to, does Adam Cole even make it to Survivor Series? Because before he gets there, he does have a WarGames match the night before where Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, representing the Undisputed Era, will be on one side, taking on Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominik Dijakovic, and one superstar yet to be announced.
This match has almost always been designed for the heels to win.
Yeah, they've had a good run of that, though, to be fair.
Yeah. With the uncertainty of who the fourth person will be, I can't back the Undisputed Era, so I think this may be the beginning of the end of the prophecy.
You think the titles are about to go their separate ways?
Yeah, I think they're not only the titles. I think the Undisputed Era themselves are about to go their separate ways.
Oh no! Don't say that.
With Adam Cole probably ending up on SmackDown.
No. I'm gonna ban you for saying
which
that.
Which would be part of which would definitely be something that would happen after losing the title to Pete Dunne.
You've made like this web of like insane ideas of what's gonna happen this weekend, and I love it. Like many things have to go right.
Original idea, so why not go out with a bang on another one?
That's fair. I can't fault it. I'm just hurriedly trying to look at the other two NXT takeovers that have had a WarGame so far. So in 2017, the Undisputed Era won, defeating the Authors of Pain and Sanity, while in 2018, the Undisputed Era lost.
Era won.
No, they lost to Pete Dunne and Ricochet and the War Raiders. So they're 1-1.
Yeah.
Coming into 2019, where they are once again a unit. To be fair, it was that first WarGames where Roderick Strong joined them and created the 4-strong unit. So if they're going to start breaking up, they've had a good 2 years together.
Yeah.
Even longer for the other guys. But yeah, as you say, that fourth man is the worrying factor to backing the Undisputed Era. Who else is left on NXT that isn't booked for WarGames that can pop in? And that's quite a list of people. It's just who will be that number one.
Yeah. Well, all we know is right now, the Undisputed Era will have the man of advantage.
That makes sense, because depending how they go this way and how it works out, that could mean that the Face's final member is the last person into the cages, depending. I don't know if they'll announce these people or the last person 10 minutes after we started recording this and it was all for naught, or if they won't announce it until the show. Few options.
I don't expect it until Saturday at the earliest.
Mm-hmm. We got a few options, obviously, with the 205 Live roster floating around. We know NXT UK is probably in town as well, so you got some options there. Kushida, I believe, is out on injury at the moment, same as Gargano. Otherwise, I would have slotted him in there. Other than that, I'm struggling to pick someone, except maybe your boy who you were picking a little bit earlier, a certain Dream.
Yeah, that would make me happy, but I'm not 100% sure on his injury status. Because the other option is not one I want to see, but I know eventually we are going to see in WWE, and that's John Morrison.
Yeah. As much as you don't want to see it, I want to see it a little bit. I haven't caught up or kept up with John Morrison a whole lot. Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, Johnny all the other things. So I'm interested to see, coming back, if he's going to NXT to be on the NXT brand. I want to see how quick of a bang he can start with. And whether he is going to reappear, fumble a little bit, or whether he's just going to hit the ground running. And I think that's going to be really telling. I don't think he'll have another shot. So if he's debuting at WarGames, if he's debuting at Survivor Series, you got one shot. make it happen. Because I feel like the time he left WWE at this point is far enough away that your sort of casual guy who pops in and out isn't really going to recognize him. He's not a massive name. So he may potentially be doing a bit of an uphill battle.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't help with the massive name that The Miz has made it for himself. Because I still remember when they broke them up, everybody thought, oh, The Miz will be the Jannetty. He'll be out of the company in 6 months. And Morrison will be HBK and will be at the top of the card.
Didn't they have a whole feud?
And it was like 12 months later, Morrison was released.
And the feud was like titled Who's the Jannetty? And they were like having matches about it. I think definitely Miz has taken off a lot more in that Miz and Morrison pair. But
Miz has had a Hall of Fame career.
Morrison went to other companies.
Yep.
But quick skim. Yeah, the Miz is not booked for Survivor Series either, so it won't be a sort of immediate collision between those two, especially if they're on different brands. This would kind of be your one and only early time to do it.
Although it wouldn't stop him from bringing him in for Miz TV. There's pretty much no rules on that segment.
That is true. We'll get to the final match of NXT TakeOver WarGames. It is the women's match. Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Mia Yim taking on Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kaylee Ray. Sticking with your heels?
This will be an interesting match. But I think in the end, Team Shayna goes down.
Okay.
I think there'll be a weak link among the 4 people. Either that, or we see a massive heel turn from your girl.
Well, yeah, obviously those are the 8 people in the match. And I know it's sort of that match where it's not meant to have interferences, but you do have Dakota Kai on the outside, being called a weak link, not entirely happy. You've got Shafir and Duke floating around for Baszler as well. There's some interference possibilities here.
And it wouldn't be the first time that interference has happened in this match.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it happened a lot in WCW, especially at the end towards the ends of the War Games with the NWO being involved.
Yeah. So
it wouldn't be unheard of. I think unless Dakota Kai goes absolutely berserk, and there is a good chance of it, I think the faces win.
Yeah. The interesting factor for me for interferences is the fact that you are in a cage at the top of the ramp, if they're sticking to that, and there's a run. There's a gap between the cage at the top, the little shark thing, and the rings. That's prime time to be attacked. And whether that's Dakota Kai taking out one of the faces and saying, no, I'm more important, put me in the match, whether that's her taking out one of the heels and changing sides there, or whether she, as you say, just goes berserk. There's options.
But I do think Dakota Kai may be the key to the entire match.
And that sounds good to me. But what also sounds good to me is the official Survivor Series theme. Sometimes I do nail these transitions, sometimes I don't. So that is going to be our theme for this week. It is called Teeth, and it's playing for you now. Some days you're the only thing I know. And you push me away. And you're back with the Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0 ArrowFM MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and we have all of Survivor Series left to cover for you. Let's kick it off with the world title matches. So we've talked about Adam Cole versus his triple threat winner, so I'm throwing that to the side. Let's go with The Fiend versus Daniel Bryan.
There is absolutely no reason for Daniel Bryan to win this match.
R.I.P. Daniel Bryan.
It should still be a really damn good match. But, yeah, The Fiend should retain. Especially since he just debuted a brand new blue title.
Yeah, it makes sense. both things. The blue title makes a lot of sense when you pull the big red one over to the blue brand. They would want it to match the branding. I think that's something that people saw coming. And as you say, Daniel Bryan winning this, winning the Universal title in general, would be a little bit confusing. You got The Fiend, you got this guy who can't be put down, unstoppable force, wins the title, confusingly, but then just loses to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan doesn't need the title, and The Fiend needs the win, so 2-0 Fiend there. And if we're looking over at the other championship match, the WWE Championship match, which is booked to be a no-holds-barred, Brock Lesnar defending against Rey Mysterio. If you were talking about Dakota Kai being the key of WarGames, I think another person whose name starts with a D is the key to this one.
Yeah, I could definitely see Dominic getting involved. But I also have another scenario.
Go nuts.
What if Rey actually pulls it off? What if he actually wins the title and we don't see the Dominic turn until it's time to pull the title off of him?
Yeah. It's possible. I wouldn't be against another Rey Mysterio title run. The only thing that gets the skin crawling a little bit iffy is this no holds barred stipulation. It feels like that feeds in really well either to Rey Mysterio winning because things can be tipped in his favor, or some sort of interference from Dominic.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely, in this case, the stipulation is to make it more believable that the little guy could actually beat the big guy.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to actually beat him in a straight-up wrestling match. He can beat him in a brawl.
Yeah.
With weapons and stuff.
So if I'm looking at this match, I'm going 3 options. Rey wins because of the stipulation. Dominic comes out, screws over Rey. Dominic comes out, helps Rey win. And in that case, 2 out of 3 of those options is Rey wins. So I'm going to go for the insane, and I'm going to take Rey here.
So am I.
See, we're both insane. Let's be insane together.
Do.
We have, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish matches with the Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT gimmick. Let's start with the woman, Shayna Baszler versus Bayley versus Becky Lynch.
I'm still going with Bayley winning.
Said that for a few months now, yeah.
Yeah. I think she has the most to gain from this. The most to lose as well. And I really do think that it's going to be a case where it's just the NXT and Raw women's champions will be too preoccupied with each other, and Bayley will just swoop in at the very end and snatch the victory out of the jaws of defeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've discussed this one a little bit in the past weeks on the show. Bayley is the unassuming one out of this 3, and with her attitude change, definitely can be a little sneaky and pull off the win there. You know, Becky Lynch went down to NXT this week. It does feel like that's the main attraction is Becky Shayna. Slip in Bayley, little in and out win, and run her home laughing.
Yep, and you can still get the tease of Shayna versus Becky, but you don't have to put one over the other.
Then we've got the tag team match: the Viking Raiders versus the New Day versus the Undisputed Era.
I'm gonna go with Raw on this one.
Okay, just spreading the wins out.
Well, that and I think the Viking Experience are almost unstoppable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, as I said earlier, I think the decline of the Undisputed Era begins with this weekend. So I don't see them winning this match. And the New Day don't need it. Then again, they didn't need the titles in the first place, and they got them. So who knows? But yeah, it will definitely benefit the Viking Raiders to pin the New Day in this match.
Yeah. Well, that's how you convinced me that it wasn't stupid to have the New Day in the match. You said the Viking Raiders can pin them, and I'm like, cool, I'm in. So I'm behind you on this pick as well. So that's 1 SmackDown, 1 Raw. We also have a men's triple threat match. We have AJ Styles, United States Champion, with the club behind him, taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental Champion, with Sami Zayn and Cesaro behind him, taking on Roderick Strong with the Undisputed Era, possibly still behind him, depending on how the show went. Now, where
I'm going to give the win to NXT.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because I want SmackDown to win this. But I think NXT sneaks away with this one.
I would, as you say, I think SmackDown winning it would be pretty cool. I think Shinsuke walking out, especially if Shinsuke, Sami, and Cesaro is going to be a thing going forward. They are still tangentially related with Daniel Bryan and trying to get a feud going with him. So I would be quite behind Shinsuke picking up the win. And screw it, that's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Shinsuke.
My fantasy team would thank you.
But there's a split now, so I've got SmackDown 2, Raw 1, and you have all 3 of them on 1. We have 2 matches left, and these ones are going to get a little hard to predict. So let's talk about the Rawmen first. So Team Raw, consisting of Charlotte Flair, Natalya, the women's tag champs Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Sarah Logan, taking on Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Carmella, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, and Dana Brooke, taking on Team NXT, which is completely unknown at this point, but we can assume probably contains some combination of the people we're seeing featured on WarGames. Depending how that went, obviously the woman's still pretty banged up, and Dakota Kai could have pissed a lot of them off.
I'm gonna go with Team NXT. I think the unknown is greater than the known.
I think Team NXT wins at least one of these Survivor Series matches, especially if their teams are staying all TBA and they're announcing them on the night. I think, as you say, that surprise factor is going to help them out a lot. Is it this one they win? I'm not going to be as specific. I think they will win definitely one of them between the lot. Team Raw, Team SmackDown, pretty strong. The highlights I'm looking for here are Sarah Logan and Dana Brooke getting a shot. Hopefully they're not eliminated within the first minute. Looking forward to see what they can see there. And we saw a little hint of it on NXT this week, but if Io Shirai ends up being on Team NXT, going face to face with Kairi Sane in the ring and not being interrupted as soon as they meet, would be pretty cool. Because there's quite a few of those NXT graduates on these teams, where you could see them go back and see some former devils of their past. We've also got the 5-on-5-on-5 men's Survivor Series triple threat elimination match. Team Raw with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet, taking on Team SmackDown with Roman Reigns, Mustafa Ali, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and Shorty G, taking on a once again completely TBA Team NXT.
Here's why I gave Raw and SmackDown the first 2 matches. It's because I'm giving NXT both Survivor Series matches.
Oof, that's a prediction.
I'm giving NXT the night overall.
Oof, that's big oof. Okay. Let me just reel back and react to that one a little bit. You're giving Team NXT the win in both 5-on-5-on-5s after their roster of their strongest men and their strongest women were pretty much decimated the night before in WarGames.
Yes, I am.
That shows balls. I said they'd win one of them. I'm not entirely sure on the other one. I think it all comes down to who NXT end up bringing to the table, and how WarGames goes. There's going to be a lot of, I think, allegiance flips and other stuff that can happen. So, don't quite know who will be even captaining these teams heading into Survivor Series.
I also think there will be a betrayal among Raw and SmackDown in the favor of NXT that will give them the advantage and allow them to win.
Okay. Who's betraying? Or just in general, you think there will be a betrayal?
I think deep down it'll be somebody from the Raw team, and I think it'll be Seth Rollins.
Okay. They've Triple H has tried to get Seth Rollins to pull back. On NXT this week, it was Ricochet, where they tried to pull him back. They ripped off his Raw shirt and everything, and they were playing some mind games about Ricochet. So I don't know, maybe Ricochet is the one that decides to flip on his team. It could be anyone.
Yeah, definitely could be.
Alright, well, we are all out of time. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio, and we'll come at you next week with the results from WarGames and Survivor Series.